Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing? Okay, so I wanted to talk about something, okay? I want to talk about how Nicki, when she talked about pushing her album back, right? So, like, Nicki Minaj said this, right? And this is all like just old business, and I want to kind of discuss this. So, back then, Nicki said, she said she has moved the release date for her Pink Friday 2 album once again at that time, right? The Queen of Rap. Nicki Minaj, who self-proclaimed herself as the queen of rap, and she's 41 years old, took to her Instagram live at that time. It was a Tuesday night to announce that the highly anticipated follow-up to her 2010 album hit Pink Friday will be pushed back on her birthday, December 8th. Now, Nicki explained that the choice was influenced in part by her friend and mentor Lil Wayne, along with 2 Chainz releasing their collaborative album Welcome to Collie Grove on November 17th, which was Pink Friday's 2 previous date. Now, Nicki says it was because of Lil Wayne. However, at the time, fans kind of were speculating it was actually because she wanted to avoid competing with Taylor Swift, who was doing a re-recording of the 1989. I believe that is a song. Taylor Swift was re-recording that song, so it was going to be a big thing. And Nicki was trying to avoid competing with Taylor. And somebody said online that Taylor Swift got her shook. She knows she was gonna debut at number 2, wrote one follower, as another tweeted afraid of Taylor Swift. So at the time, everybody thought that, hey, Nicki Minaj was actually afraid of Taylor Swift, and Taylor Swift was a big deal as to why, or a big reason as to why Nicki Minaj was not gonna drop. I bring this up also to say at that time, I remember they were saying how the new December drop date even had Mariah Carey name thrown in the mix. Like around that time, it's exclusively Mariah Carey time, because like she reigns over the holiday with her All I Want for Christmas song. And they're basically saying how, Nicki Minaj pushes back because of what Taylor Swift, Lil Wayne, Mariah Carey, she did not want that competition. And she felt as though, Mariah Carey was going to defeat her at that time. Although Taylor's version of her 1989 album originally released in 2014, it actually at that time was going to hit the shelves on Friday, and was expected to be her biggest re-recording yet, and might keep like the sales floating for weeks. So she was trying to avoid that at the time. Now, if you guys remember, back in June, Nicki first announced that Pink Friday 2 would land or come out October 20th. Later that month, she revealed that the title of the record was Pink Friday 2, and she pushed back the release date to November 17th. Now, at the time, she reassured her followers that it, would be worth the wait. Now, due to some really exciting news, she said, I'll share with you guys at a later time. I've shifted the album date just a tad bit. The rapper, at the time she was 40 before, then she turned 41, right? Announced on her page, right? Nicki's last full studio album before that was Queen, and that was released in 2018. And she said, I have never in my life been so in love with something that I'm working on. So that's what she said at the time. Now let's talk about it, okay? So when we start talking about albums and Megan having the number 3 album in the country, we're actually having a real conversation. If Megan has the number 3 album on Billboard, and the number 1 album is Taylor Swift, and second to that is a country album, and so Taylor Swift spent 11 weeks on the charts. The country album was there for 70 weeks, and Megan's just arrived. The fact that she just dropped this album and it's already like number one female rap album, right? All the other people that she's competing with, a country singer and Nicki Minaj even pushed back her album allegedly to avoid the competition, be it Lil Wayne or be it Taylor Swift. So how can she even have the mouth or have the ability to be making fun or saying sympathy and doing all of that when you pushed back your album to avoid the competition as well? You pushed when nobody else was dropping. You didn't want to, compete with Taylor Swift. You did not want to. You pushed back your album continuously to avoid that. Maybe you had a conversation with Taylor Swift behind the scenes. I don't know, because at that time she was surprisingly very close to Taylor Swift, so much so that she was able to allegedly, heavy on the allegedly, link Taylor with Spicy Girl, the Spice Girl, Ice Spice. So I don't think it's fair for Nicki to make fun of Megan, because Megan has the number one rap album, point blank period, and she just dropped. I think that's an amazing accomplishment. And the fact that she's competing with Taylor Swift and competing with a country artist who's been on the charts for like 70 weeks, come on now. And Taylor Swift's been, and you already know, Drake has said it, when Taylor's dropping, everybody like shuts down. Taylor has a certain ability to like overshadow any other albums that's being dropped, period. Taylor is a high star power, period. So when we talk about Taylor dropping and the power behind Taylor Swift, like, come on now. It's unmatched. Taylor is right now number one and been number one for a minute, and after that. So we can't out here try to make it seem like, oh, we got to sneeze on Megan Thee Stallion's album because it's not number two, when there's an artist a country artist that been on the charts for like 70 weeks, and Megan's just dropped and she's already like the number one rap album, period. Come on now. And Nicki pushed back her album so many times in order to, I don't know, appease or her fans, because she did not believe that she could be above Lil Wayne, or she just made it so that it was easy for her to get that number one spot. She wasn't in competition. She avoided all of the competition. And like I said in my previous videos, Nicki's been doing this for 13 years. And not only has she been doing it for 13 years, but like Pink Friday 2 is her fifth studio album. It's insane and ludicrous for people to continuously compare her and Megan, because there is no comparisons. And it's kind of sad that, she continuously has to go against the new girls, because she's been doing this far longer than they have. And for them to even have these numbers is something to be said about that. The fact that she can even be in competition, or there's even a room or conversation of competition between these individuals, between these rap girls, these new up and coming rap girls, and a Nicki Minaj who's been in the game for 13 years, is to me means that you probably wasn't doing nothing, because you don't compare the greats with up and coming. Come on now. You don't. You just can't. You can't. Jay-Z is a standalone artist on his own. He can't be compared to nobody. And Nicki and her fans continuously compare when there is no comparisons. And especially when she continuously was pushing back her album, in my opinion. I feel like she does what she does, and she's amazing at it. And she's a standalone, talent. It's kind of sad when she compares herself to these up and coming girls, because it almost sounds like she is hatred or dislike or whatever against these up and coming girls, when if she does not feel that way, then she should stand in her own power. She's absolutely wonderful, point blank period. I just don't like the teasing one girl, especially when you push the album back a couple of times in a way to which you were trying to avoid competing with anybody. I don't think Megan dropped this album the date in which she dropped this album with the fact that Taylor Swift was on. Like, she didn't look and see who was on the charts just so she can she wasn't doing all of that. She dropped it the time she was gonna drop it, after all the clearance came through, because she had to check with the anime people and all of that. But I don't think she was checking Billboard and doing all of that. You were going off on your team at that time, running back and forth just to make sure that you got that number one spot. You did everything in your possible power to get that number one spot, because you were trying not to compete with everybody else. I think that Nicki Minaj needs to just be her own person. Wherever you drop is wherever you drop. Your music is still loved. You still have the strong fan base, but you can't tease somebody when you push back your album, especially it's a younger girl just coming into the game. You and her are not on the same level, and you guys should not be, especially since you've been out longer. You've been in this business for 13 years. You can't compare Megan's being in this business to you being in this business, especially with the relationships that you garnered, the friendships that you've garnered, the people that you have connected with, and everything. The fact that she was even able to be arriving on Billboard and doing the numbers that she did without much of I would say without much of the things that other people have, I think it's a wonderful thing. Yes, she has Jay-Z and Beyonce support. However, we see that it didn't do much for Chloe Bailey's career, and her, being on the Billboard and everything of that nature. So what you think Beyonce can do for Megan? I think Jay-Z is a powerful person as well, but Chloe Bailey is still where she's at. and she knows these people. I think that Megan's star power is absolutely amazing, but she's still an independent artist. And people don't like to bring up the fact that she is an independent artist because she has connections to Jay-Z and because she has distribution and all of these different things, but she's still independent and she doesn't have that push as like a major label. Nicki has Young Money, Cash Money and all of that, and she has a bunch of strong businesses and people that are on her back, and like that she has supporting her. Her barbs are a set fan base. Nicki has like a lot of push, to where Megan hasn't garnered that yet, hasn't gained that yet. So I don't think it's fair to compare, in my opinion. But that's all I wanted to say, guys. Let me know what you guys think. I love you guys so much. Bye.